There is a moment in every human life when a question quietly rises within. Why do some people seem to move forward with clarity while others remain stuck? Why do certain individuals attract opportunities while others keep facing resistance? The answer is not luck, not fate, and not some hidden external force controlling everything. The answer begins within. What many call vibration is not something mysterious or distant. It is your lived experience, shaped by your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, and your actions. It is the invisible pattern behind visible results. It is the difference between reacting and responding, between drifting and directing. Every day you wake up and step into the world, not just with a body, but with a state. That state influences how you see situations, how you speak to others, how you make decisions, and how you handle pressure. It affects whether you move with purpose or hesitation, whether you create or avoid, whether you grow or repeat. People often search for quick ways to change their reality. They look for shortcuts, external validation, or sudden breakthroughs. But reality does not transform through wishes alone. It responds to alignment. When your thoughts are clear, your emotions are steady, and your actions are consistent, something powerful begins to happen. Your life starts to shift. Not because reality is obeying you like a command, but because you are finally working in harmony with how reality actually functions. This journey is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aware. It is about recognizing patterns that hold you back and replacing them with patterns that move you forward. It is about understanding that your current situation is not your final definition, but a reflection of what has been practiced so far. There will be moments of doubt, moments of discomfort, and moments where change feels slow, but within those moments lies growth. And within growth lies transformation. Raising your vibration strongly is not about escaping challenges. It is about becoming strong enough to face them with clarity, confidence, and control. It is about building a state of mind that does not collapse under pressure, but adapts and evolves. When you reach that level, something shifts. Opportunities become visible. Decisions become sharper. Energy becomes stable, and progress becomes natural. This is not a story of instant miracles. This is a process of real change grounded in awareness, discipline, and consistent effort. The chapters that they are principles to live by. Each one builds upon the other, guiding you step by step toward a state where your inner world supports your outer reality. And when that alignment becomes strong enough, it will feel as if reality is responding faster than, not because it suddenly changed, but because you did chapter 1, the real meaning of vibration. There is a common misunderstanding that vibration is something mystical that only a few people can access. In truth, it is something every person experiences every moment of their life. Your vibration is your state. It is the combined effect of how you think, how you feel, how you act, and how you respond to everything around you. Two people can stand in the same place, face the same challenge, and still walk away with completely different outcomes. The difference is not the situation. The difference is their vibration. When your mind is filled with doubt, your energy becomes weak, your actions become hesitant, and your results reflect that hesitation. When your mind is focused, your emotions are steady, and your actions are deliberate, your results begin to improve. This is not because reality suddenly becomes easier. It is because you are interacting with it in a stronger way. Think about a person who enters a room with confidence. They do not need to say much for others to notice them. Their posture, their tone, their presence all communicate something powerful. This is vibration in action. Now think about someone who enters the same room with insecurity and fear. They avoid eye contact, their voice lacks strength, their body language is closed. Even without words, their state is visible. Both individuals are broadcasting their internal condition through external behavior. This is why vibration is real, not as a magical force, but as a practical reality. Your inner world shapes your outer expression, and your outer expression shapes your outcomes. Example. A young man starts a new job. On his first day, he feels nervous and unsure of himself. He assumes others are more capable and begins to doubt his own abilities. Because of this, he speaks less, avoids asking questions, and makes mistakes due to hesitation. His performance suffers, and he begins to believe that he is not good enough. Now imagine the same man choosing a different internal state. He still feels nervous, but decides to stay focused and open to learning. He asks questions, listens carefully, and takes action even when unsure. His confidence grows through effort, and his performance improves. The job did not change. The environment did not change. Only his vibration changed. Another example. Two friends decide to start a small business. One constantly worries about failure, overthinks every decision, and delays action. The other accepts uncertainty, focuses on progress, and takes consistent steps forward. After some time, the first person remains stuck in planning, while the second begins to see real results. Again, the difference is not intelligence or opportunity. It is state. Understanding this changes everything. It means you are not completely controlled by circumstances. It means you have influence over how you experience and respond to life. But it also brings responsibility. Because if your vibration shapes your reality, then avoiding growth means accepting repetition. Many people stay in the same patterns for years, not because they lack ability, but because they do not change their state. They react the same way, think the same thoughts, and make the same decisions. And as a result, they receive the same outcomes. Raising your vibration begins with recognizing this cycle. It is not about pretending to be positive. It is about becoming aware of how your current state is affecting your life. When you start to notice your reactions, your habits, and your thought patterns, you begin to see where change is needed. This awareness is the first step toward control. From there, you can begin to shift. You can train your mind to focus instead of scatter. You can guide your emotions instead of being controlled by them. You can take action instead of avoiding it. Over time, these small changes build a stronger state. And that stronger state begins to influence everything. Your conversations become clearer. Your decisions become more confident. Your actions become more consistent. This is what it means to raise your vibration strongly. It is not about escaping reality. It is about stepping into it with strength, clarity, and purpose. And once you understand this foundation, you begin to realize that change is not as distant as it once seemed. Why most people fail to change their reality. Many people desire change, but very few truly experience it. This is not because change is impossible. It is because most people approach it in a way that guarantees they stay the same. They focus on outcomes without understanding the process behind those outcomes. They want success without discipline. They want confidence without discomfort. They want progress without consistency. This creates a gap between what they say and what they actually do. A person may say they want to improve their life, but their daily actions reflect distraction, hesitation, and avoidance. They wait for the right mood, the right moment, or the right opportunity. And while they wait, nothing changes. Reality does not respond to intention alone. It responds to repeated behavior. One of the biggest reasons people fail to change their reality is that they underestimate the power of small habits. They believe transformation must be dramatic and immediate. So when they do not see instant results, they lose motivation. In truth, change is often slow at the beginning, but powerful over time. Example. A student decides to improve their academic performance. On the first day, they feel motivated and study for many hours. But the next day, they feel tired and skip their work. Soon they return to old habits and nothing improves. Another student takes a different approach. They study for a shorter time, but do it every day. Even when they do not feel motivated, they still take action. Over time, their understanding grows, their confidence increases, and their results improve. The difference is not intelligence. It is consistency. Another reason people fail is because they try to change externally without changing internally. They may change their environment temporarily or copy the behavior of others, but their mindset remains the same. Without internal change, external efforts do not last. Example: a beginner sees an expert performing at a high level. Instead of learning from them, they feel inadequate and stop trying. Another beginner sees the same expert and feels inspired. They focus on improving step by step without comparing timelines. One becomes stuck, the other grows. Another important reason is lack of patience. People expect quick results in a short time. When results take longer, they assume something is wrong. But meaningful change requires time. Example: a person starts learning a new skill. After a few days, they see little progress and feel frustrated. They quit and move to something else. Another person continues practicing, even when progress feels slow. After weeks and months, improvement becomes clear. The difference is patience. There is also the habit of blaming external circumstances. People often say their environment, their background, or their situation is the reason they cannot change. While circumstances do influence life, they do not completely control it. Blame removes responsibility. And without responsibility, there is no change. Example: two individuals grow up in similar difficult conditions. One uses it as a reason to give up. The other uses it as motivation to improve. The starting point is the same. The outcome is different. Responsibility creates movement. Understanding these patterns reveals a clear truth. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they do not align their thoughts, emotions, and actions. They say one thing, feel another, and do something completely different. This misalignment weakens their vibration. To change reality, you must bring these elements together. Your thoughts must support your goals. Your emotions must be guided, not uncontrolled. Your actions must be consistent, not occasional. When alignment begins, even small efforts produce noticeable results. Change becomes real. This chapter is not meant to criticize, but to reveal. Because once you understand why change does not happen, you gain the power to make it happen. And that power begins with a simple decision: to stop waiting, to stop avoiding, to start acting with awareness and consistency. From this point forward, your focus shifts. Not on wishing for a different life, but on becoming the person who creates it. Chapter 3. Awareness is the first shift. Before anything in your life can truly change, you must first see clearly what is already there. Most people move through life on automatic. They respond the same way again and again, without realizing they are repeating cycles. Awareness breaks that cycle. It is the ability to observe yourself without immediately reacting. It is the moment when you notice your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. It is when you begin to understand why you feel a certain way instead of being lost inside the feeling. Without awareness, there is no direction. You cannot change what you do not recognize. Many people try to improve their lives by forcing new habits, but without awareness, these changes do not last. They return to old patterns because the root has not been understood. Awareness brings that root into light. It allows you to see how you think in difficult situations, how you react when things do not go your way, how your habits shape your results over time. Example: a person notices that every time they face a challenge, they immediately feel overwhelmed and avoid taking action. Before awareness, they would simply continue this pattern and blame circumstances for lack of progress. After developing awareness, they begin to pause in that moment. They recognize the feeling of overwhelm as it appears. Instead of running from it, they stay present and choose to take a small step forward. This simple shift begins to change their behavior. Another example. A student realizes that they spend hours distracted by unnecessary activities. Before awareness, they believe they had no time to study. After awareness, they see clearly where their time is going. This realization allows them to adjust their routine. They begin to reduce distractions and create space for focused work. The situation did not change. Their awareness did. One of the most powerful aspects of awareness is that it creates a gap between stimulus and response. Before awareness, something happens and you react instantly. After awareness, something happens and you have a moment to choose your response. That moment is where change lives. Example. A person notices that they start projects with enthusiasm but lose interest quickly. This pattern has repeated many times. With awareness, they begin to understand that they rely too much on motivation and not enough on discipline. This understanding allows them to build a new approach where they continue working even when motivation fades. Awareness turns confusion into clarity. It shows you where you are instead of where you imagine yourself to be. This can be uncomfortable at first because it requires honesty. You may see habits that hold you back. You may recognize thoughts that limit your growth. You may realize that some of your struggles come from within, not just from outside. But this discomfort is necessary. Because once you see clearly, you gain the power to change. Awareness is not about judging yourself. It is not about labeling yourself as good or bad. It is about understanding. When you understand your patterns, you can begin to shift them. When you understand your reactions, you can begin to control them. When you understand your habits, you can begin to replace them. This is where your vibration begins to rise in a real and lasting way, not through forced positivity, but through conscious living. A practical way to build awareness is to slow down your reactions. Take a moment before responding. Notice what you are thinking. Notice what you are feeling. Ask yourself simple questions. Why am I reacting this way? Is this helping me or holding me back? What is a better response in this moment? These small pauses create powerful changes over time. Another method is reflection. At the end of your day, think about your actions, your decisions, and your reactions. Where did you act with clarity? Where did you react without thinking? What can you improve tomorrow? This habit strengthens awareness gradually. As awareness grows, your control grows. You begin to act with intention instead of impulse. You begin to choose your direction instead of drifting. This is the first real shift. Because before discipline, before confidence, before success, there is awareness. It is the foundation of all change. And once it becomes part of your life, you will start to see things differently. You will notice patterns others ignore. You will understand situations more deeply. You will respond with greater control. From this point forward, you are no longer living unconsciously. You are living with intention. And that is where true they influence how you see situations, how you interpret events, and how you decide to act. Even when you are not aware of them, your thoughts are active, guiding your behavior in subtle but powerful ways. When your thoughts are scattered, negative, or uncertain, your actions reflect that confusion. You hesitate, you doubt yourself, you delay decisions, and you lose direction. This creates a cycle where poor thinking leads to weak action, and weak action leads to disappointing results. To raise your vibration strongly, you must bring your thoughts into alignment. Thought alignment means training your mind to think in a way that supports your growth instead of working against it. It does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. It means choosing thoughts that are constructive, focused, and useful. Many people allow their minds to wander without control. They think about worst-case scenarios. They replay past mistakes. They imagine failure before even trying. These patterns drain energy and reduce confidence. Example: a person is preparing for an important interview. If their thoughts are filled with doubt, they may think, I am not good enough. I will fail, others are better than me. Because of these thoughts, their confidence drops, their body language weakens, and their performance suffers. Now imagine the same person choosing aligned thoughts. They think, I have prepared, I will give my best, I will stay calm and focused. These thoughts do not guarantee success, but they create a stronger state. Their confidence improves, their communication becomes clearer, and their chances increase. The situation remains the same. The difference is thought alignment. Thought alignment also affects how you deal with challenges. When faced with difficulty, an unaligned mind focuses on problems. It asks, why is this happening to me? It feels stuck and overwhelmed. An aligned mind focuses on solutions. It asks, what can I learn from this? What is the next step I can take? This shift in thinking leads to action instead of paralysis. Example: a person working on a project may face many distractions. If their thoughts are not aligned, they remind themselves of their purpose and return to the task. This strengthens productivity. Over time, aligned thinking becomes natural. You begin to notice negative patterns quickly. You adjust your thoughts without much effort. You maintain clarity even in challenging situations. This strengthens your vibration because your inner state becomes stable and directed. It is important to remember that thought alignment is not about perfection. You will still have moments of doubt, frustration, and uncertainty. But the difference is, you do not stay in those states for long. You recognize them and guide yourself back to a stronger mindset. This ability creates resilience. A simple way to practice thought alignment is to check your thinking regularly. Pause during your day and ask yourself, what is this helping me or limiting me? What is a better way to think in this moment? These small adjustments build powerful habits over time. Another practice is to start your day with clear intention. Decide how you want to think and act. Set a direction for your mind before external influences take over. This gives you control from the beginning of your day. As you continue to develop thought alignment, you will notice changes. Your decisions become clearer. Your confidence becomes stronger. Your actions become more consistent. And your results begin to improve. Not because circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because your way of thinking allows you to handle them more effectively. This is the power of thought alignment. It transforms your inner world, and that transformation reflects in your outer reality. When your thoughts support your growth, your vibration rises. And when your vibration rises, your ability to create change becomes stronger than ever before. Chapter 5: Emotional Control is Real Power. Emotions are a natural part of being human. They are not weaknesses, and they are not obstacles. But when emotions are not understood or controlled, they can take over your actions and decisions. This is where many people lose their power. Raising your vibration strongly does not mean removing emotions. It means learning how to manage them in a way that supports your growth instead of damaging it. Most people react instantly to how they feel. If they feel angry, they act with anger. If they feel fear, they avoid action. If they feel stress, they become overwhelmed. This creates a life driven by impulse instead of intention. Emotional control changes this pattern. It gives you the ability to feel without losing direction, to experience emotions without being controlled by them. Example: a person receives criticism at work. Without emotional control, they feel attacked and respond defensively. They argue, justify themselves, and create tension. With emotional control, they still feel discomfort, but they pause. They listen carefully and choose to respond calmly. They take useful feedback and ignore what is not helpful. The situation remains the same. The outcome becomes different, because of control. Another example. A student feels anxiety before an exam. Without control, they panic, forget what they studied, and perform poorly. With control, they acknowledge the anxiety, but do not let it take over. They focus on their preparation, stay calm, and do their best. Their performance improves because their state remains stable. Emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings. It means understanding them. When you feel something strong, instead of reacting immediately, you ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What is the best way to respond? This pause creates space between emotion and action. That space is where your power exists. Many people believe that strong emotions must be expressed instantly. But instant expression often leads to regret. Controlled expression leads to clarity. Example. Taking on difficult tasks, speaking up when needed, or stepping outside your comfort zone all help build emotional stability. Over time, you become less reactive and more composed. This composure becomes part of your identity. As emotional control improves, your vibration rises naturally. You feel more stable. You think more clearly. You act more effectively. People begin to trust you more because you are consistent in your behavior. Opportunities increase. This is real power, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. When you reach this level, you are no longer controlled by temporary feelings. You are guided by awareness, intention, and purpose. And that is what allows you to move through life with strength, clarity, and confidence. Chapter 6. Discipline. Many people believe that energy comes from feeling motivated. They wait for the right mood, the right moment, or the right inspiration before they take action. But motivation is temporary and unreliable. It rises and falls depending on circumstances. Discipline is different. Discipline does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you decide to do, regardless of how you feel. This is why discipline creates real and lasting energy. When your life lacks structure, your mind becomes scattered. You delay tasks, you avoid effort, and you constantly think about what you should be doing. This creates mental pressure and reduces your energy. When you follow discipline, your mind becomes clear. You know what needs to be done, and you take action without overthinking. This reduces stress and builds momentum. Energy is not only physical, it is also mental and emotional. A disciplined person experiences less confusion and more direction. This creates a steady flow of energy that supports consistent action. Example. A person wakes up without a routine. They check their phone, spend time on unnecessary activities, and delay important work. As the day continues, they feel tired and unproductive, even though they have not done much. Another person wakes up at a fixed time, follows a simple routine, and begins their work early. They complete important tasks before distractions appear. As the day continues, they feel accomplished and energized. It is in the structure of their actions. Discipline removes unnecessary decisions. When you decide in advance what you will do, you do not waste energy thinking about it again and again. Example. If you decide that you will exercise every morning, you do not debate whether to do it each day. You simply follow the decision. This saves mental energy and builds consistency. Another important aspect of discipline is that it strengthens your self-trust. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build confidence in yourself. When you break your own commitments repeatedly, you weaken that trust. Example. A person feels tired and does not want to continue working. Instead of stopping completely, they decide to complete a small part of the task. This keeps momentum alive. Over time, this habit of continuing despite discomfort builds strong discipline. As discipline becomes part of your life, your energy changes. You feel more in control. You act with purpose. You waste less time and focus more on what matters. This creates a powerful state. Your vibration rises because your actions align with your intentions. You are no longer dependent on temporary feelings. You become consistent, reliable, and focused. This is what makes discipline one of the most important foundations of transformation. It is not about forcing yourself endlessly. It is about creating a system where progress becomes natural. When discipline is strong, your energy follows. And when your energy is stable, your ability to shape your state, your environment silently influences who you become. It affects your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, and your decisions often without you even realizing it. Many people try to change their lives while remaining in the same environment that created their current patterns. This makes change difficult because they are constantly surrounded by the same triggers and influences. Your environment is not only the physical place you live in. It also includes the people around you, the content you consume, and the situations you expose yourself to daily. Each of these elements either supports your growth or pulls you away from it. When your environment is filled with negativity, distraction, and lack of direction, your vibration naturally lowers. You begin to adopt the same patterns, even if you do not intend to. When your environment is focused, supportive, and growth-oriented, your vibration rises. You begin to think, act, and behave in a stronger way. A person spends most of their time with individuals who complain, avoid responsibility, and waste time. Even if they start with motivation, they slowly begin to adopt similar habits. They lose focus, delay action, and feel less driven. Another person surrounds themselves with individuals who value discipline, growth, and effort. They observe positive habits, engage in meaningful conversations, and stay motivated to improve. Over time, their mindset and behavior become stronger. The difference is environment. People are one of the most powerful parts of your environment. You do not need to remove but you must become aware of how different individuals influence your state. Some people encourage growth. Others reinforce limitation. Example: if you share your goals with someone who constantly doubts you or discourages you, it becomes harder to stay committed. If you share your goals with someone who supports your efforts and challenges you to improve, your confidence increases. The people around you affect your belief in yourself. Another important part of your environment is what you consume. Information enters your mind daily through conversations, media, and digital content. If you constantly consume negative or distracting content, your thoughts become scattered and unfocused. If you consume content that teaches, inspires, and challenges you, your thinking improves. Example: a person who improves their habits may realize that certain social circles no longer align with their goals. They begin to spend more time in environments that challenge and support their progress. Growth requires change. As your awareness increases, you become more selective about your environment. You begin to notice what raises your energy and what lowers it. You make decisions that protect your focus and support your direction. This strengthens your vibration. Because your surroundings are no longer working against you. They are working with you. A strong environment does not guarantee success, but a weak environment almost guarantees struggle. When your environment supports your goals, your actions become easier. Your focus becomes sharper. Your consistency becomes stronger. This creates momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in transformation. As you continue to build and adjust your environment, you will notice a shift. You will think more clearly. You will act more intentionally. You will feel more stable. Your vibration rises not by force, but by alignment. Because everything around you begins to support the person you are becoming. And when your environment and your effort move in the same direction, change becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Chapter 8. Speaking with intention. Words are not just sounds. They are expressions of your inner state. They reflect how you think, how you feel, and how you see the world. They complain without thinking. They criticize without understanding. They use words that weaken their own mindset. This kind of communication lowers your vibration. Speaking with intention changes this completely. It means choosing your words carefully, not to impress others, but to align your speech with clarity, purpose, and control. When your words are intentional, your mind becomes more focused, your emotions become more stable, and your interactions become more meaningful. Example: a person faces a difficult situation and says, "Everything is going wrong, nothing works for me." These words create a sense of helplessness. They reinforce negativity and reduce motivation. Another person in the same situation says, "This is challenging, but I will find a way to improve it." These words do not ignore the difficulty, but they create direction. The difference is not in the situation, it is in the language. Words influence perception. What you repeatedly say becomes what you start to believe. If you constantly speak about failure, problems, and limitations, your mind begins to accept them as reality. If you speak with responsibility and focus, your mind begins to look for solutions. Example: a student says, "I am bad at this subject, I will never understand it." This statement limits their effort and reduces their willingness to try. Another student says, "I find this subject difficult, but I can improve with practice." This creates space for growth. Language shapes belief. Another important aspect of speaking with intention is taking responsibility in your words. Blaming others or circumstances may feel easy, but it removes your control. Example: a few clear and meaningful sentences can have more impact than long, unfocused conversations. This builds respect and clarity. To develop this habit, you must slow down your speech. Before speaking, ask yourself, is what I am about to say useful? Is it true? Is it? These questions help you filter your words. Over time, this becomes natural. As you practice speaking with intention, your inner state begins to change. You become more aware of your thoughts. You reduce negative patterns. You communicate with clarity and confidence. This strengthens your vibration. Because your words now align with your growth, people begin to notice the difference. They see you as more composed, more reliable, and more focused. Opportunities improve because communication improves. Misunderstandings reduce because clarity increases. This is the power of intentional speech. It transforms simple communication into a tool for growth. It aligns your inner world with your outer expression. And when your words support your direction, your actions follow more easily. Your vibration rises not only through what you do, but through what you say and how you say it. Because every word you speak is shaping the reality you are building. Choose them with awareness and purpose. Chapter 9. The role of action. Understanding, thinking, planning, and feeling are important, but none of them have real value without action. Action is the bridge between your inner world and your outer reality. It is the point where ideas become results. Without action, even the best intentions remain incomplete. Many people spend a large part of their lives thinking about what they want to do. They imagine success, they plan their future, and they wait for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment rarely arrives. Waiting creates delay. Delay creates doubt. And doubt eventually leads to inaction. To raise your vibration strongly, you must move from thinking to doing. Action does not need to be perfect. It needs to be consistent. Example: a person wants to improve their skills. They spend time watching videos, reading information, and planning, but they never begin practicing. Another person starts immediately. Even if they make mistakes, they continue learning through action. Over time, their skills improve because they are applying what they learn. The difference is not knowledge, it is movement. Action creates feedback. When you take action, you begin to understand what works and what does not. This allows you to adjust and improve. Without action, you remain in uncertainty. Another example: A person who avoids challenges begins to see themselves as limited. Their behavior reinforces this belief. Action changes self-perception. To build strong action habits, you must reduce hesitation. Start before you feel ready. Take the first step, even if it is small. Perfection is not required to begin. Improvement happens along the way. As you continue to act, your vibration rises. Because your inner intentions are now supported by external movement. You are no longer stuck in thought or emotion. You are creating results. Your confidence increases because you see progress. Your focus improves because you are engaged. Your energy grows because you are moving forward. This creates a powerful cycle. Action leads to progress. Progress leads to confidence. Confidence leads to more action. And the cycle continues. This is how reality begins to shift. Not through waiting, not through wishing, but through consistent, deliberate action. When you commit to action, you take control of your direction. You stop being passive and become active in shape. And that is where true change begins. Because in the end, it is not what you think or plan that defines your reality. It is what you do repeatedly. Action is the force that turns potential into results. And when your actions align with your purpose, your vibration rises with strength and clarity. Chapter 10. Many people start strong, but do not continue. They feel inspired for a short time, take action for a few days, and then slowly return to old patterns. This is one of the most common reasons why change does not last. Starting is important, but continuing is what creates real transformation. Consistency is the ability to keep going even when motivation fades, even when results are not immediate, even when the process feels repetitive. It is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about showing up again and again. When you act consistently, your efforts begin to compound. Small actions repeated over time create results that seem far greater than the effort itself. Example: a person reads for a few hours in one day and then stops for weeks. They gain little progress. Another person reads a small amount every day. Over time, their knowledge grows significantly. The difference is not effort in a single moment. It is repetition over time. Consistency builds momentum. Momentum is the force that makes action easier as you continue. At the beginning, everything feels difficult. Starting requires effort. Continuing requires discipline. But once momentum builds, actions begin to feel more natural. Example: if you skip a day of practice, you do not quit. You continue the next day. This keeps your momentum intact. As consistency becomes part of your life, your vibration rises naturally. You become more stable. You reduce uncertainty and build direction. Your actions align with your goals. This alignment creates a strong and steady state. People begin to notice your reliability. Opportunities increase because you are consistent in your effort. Results begin to appear not suddenly, but gradually. And when they do, they are lasting. Consistency turns effort into progress, progress into confidence, and confidence into greater action. This cycle strengthens over time. It is not fast, but it is powerful. Because what you do repeatedly shapes who you become. And who you become shapes the reality you experience. When you commit to consistency, you stop depending on temporary motivation. You build a system of action that works, and through that system, your vibration rises steadily, creating a life that reflects discipline, focus, and continuous growth. Conclusion: raising your vibration strongly, it is about understanding that your reality is a reflection of your inner state. Your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, your words, and your environment all combine to create the energy you radiate into the world. This energy determines the quality of your actions, the clarity of your decisions, and the results you experience. Every chapter of this journey points to one essential truth. Change begins within. Awareness allows you to see clearly the patterns that shape your life. Thought alignment gives your mind direction. Emotional control ensures that your feelings guide you instead of controlling you. Discipline transforms effort into energy. Environment supports your growth instead of holding you back. Intentional speech amplifies your clarity and strengthens your presence. When all these elements align, your vibration rises. Not because the world obeys instant commands, but because your state matches the level of reality you wish to create. Opportunities become visible. Decisions become precise. Action becomes consistent. And momentum builds naturally. Transformation does not happen overnight. It happens step by step, moment by moment. Through small choices repeated consistently. Through the courage to face discomfort. Through the patience to persist when results are not immediate. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. Every thought you cultivate, every emotion you manage, every action you take, shapes your reality. And when you take responsibility for your inner state, the outer world begins to reflect that mastery. This is not a journey of perfection. It is a journey of alignment, of consciously choosing who you are in each moment, of creating patterns that serve you, and of becoming the person who naturally attracts the life they desire. As you continue to practice awareness, align your thoughts, manage your emotions, stay disciplined, cultivate supportive surroundings, and speak with intention, your vibration strengthens. Your reality begins to shift, not magically, but inevitably. The power to transform your life has always been within you. It is no longer a matter of hoping or wishing. It is a matter of choosing. Choosing daily to raise your vibration, to live with clarity and purpose, and to act in harmony with the reality you want to create. When you commit to this path fully, you step into a life where your inner power meets your outer reality. And the world responds, not because it must, but because you have become someone who moves through it with alignment, strength, and unstoppable momentum. Your vibration is your life, and it is yours to raise, strengthen, and master the end.